Welcome everybody. Tonight we're taking Bug for a tour of Vintage. We're going to explore the deck in its details. We're going to talk about the cards. And we're going to play a league. And then at the end we're going to discuss if there's any changes we should have made with the deck. I'm taking the deck that won a couple of challenges ago by Ozymandias 17. I particularly like this version because there's very few dead cards in the deck, both main and coming in from the sideboard. And Bug is all about that incremental advantage, those 2-for-1s, having the right answers at the right time. So to give a quick overview, Bug is a deck that leans heavily into Deathrite Shaman and abusing the mini Planeswalker mechanics. It is also a deck that, even though it's 3 colors, because of Deathrite Shaman, is able to pull to use the full package of land destruction to its advantage. It's a deck that likes to draw cards as well. We have an Ancestral, of course, the blue suit, Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, in addition to Brainstorm and Ponder. We also play another restricted blue card with Time Walk, and Narset, and finally 4 Force of Wills and 1 Force of Negation. The other threats that the deck can deploy are Tarmogoyfs, Okos, Leovold, as well as Endurance, which doubles as insurance against other graveyard decks, but is also on a pinch, being able to attack for 3, flash at end of turn, attack for 3. Also plays 3 main deck Collector Oofs, stops a lot of PO and shops opponents. From black, it's introducing a Demonic Tutor to find the pieces you really need in the middle of the match, as well as 3 Assassin's Trophy as catch-all removal. Many decks are not running basics or not running that many basics. So Assassin's Trophy is actually 2 mana catch-all. This deck has only 1 forest main. Some versions have more basics, or they play Mystic Sentry, for example, in order to loop Ancestral Recall if needed. Some decks play Gesh and Daze, but I feel that Daze is also a dead card a lot of the times. When it hits, but when it doesn't hit, then it's not very good. What else can we say about this deck? Main deck Force of Vigor is able to just hit those incremental artifacts that are lying around, so it's never really a dead card in the majority of matchups. And overall, this main deck is tweaked so that everything has an impact in the game as you're playing. Leovold works very well protecting your permanents and preventing the opponent from drawing cards, as well as Narset, same effect, preventing the opponent from drawing more than 1 card a turn. And then 3 Okos, mainly against other creature decks, but also for value. If you resolved an Oko against a slower blue opponent, for example, and you're able to control the deck from there, is usually 1. Tarmogoyf has been disputed if it's actually vintage playable card. Here we're playing 2 of them. Often it's heading down for 5 or 6. So it's puts quite a clock on the opponent. From the sideboard, we have here against artifacts and enchantments, Force of Vigor, 3 Force of Vigors coming in as pitch spells or spells that you can actually cast. We have an Energy Flux, mainly against shops. Then we have the 4th Assassin's Trophy. Some decks play what's it called? The other card that also costs 2 mana, cannot be countered, and destroys target permanent with converted cost 3 or less. But it is a more restricted card than the catch-all Assassin's Trophy. Therefore, we're playing the full complement of 4 Assassin's Trophy on the full 75. Then we have some Graveyard Hate again, or Graveyard Strategies Hate with 2 Tabernacles coming in, or other creature decks. Another Endurance to complete the 4 full playset of Endurance in the 75. 2 Ravenous Traps and 2 Jailers. So this version is not playing Leyline of the Void. So every draw that you have, probably except the Ravenous Traps, is always going to hit something. Finally, we have against blue decks and combo decks, we have Flusterstorms to prevent them from going off. And then against more fair decks, we have Sylvan Library as a card draw engine and card draw selection. So this is it. The plan now is to take the deck through a league. So let's just start straight away. Okay, so we're playing Leofa, last seen on Bug 22 days ago, but we can never be sure. So this hand has a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman, turn 2 Collector Oof, and my opponent is Mulligan, or no? I have a Force of Will as well, so I think this is a keep. I'm just wondering what I should expose. At this point I might want to keep 2 green, so I'm just gonna lead with the Underground Sea, just in case my opponent has land destruction. If I have the fetch, probably in this situation I would fetch the forest. So my opponent is on the blue Affinity deck, probably. So Collector Roof is going to be very good here. Fine with them playing Emery. I'm going to try to jam the Collector Roof, basically. I have a Force of Will backup. There's also land in the graveyard, but at this point I will keep that for a Flusterstorm. We have to fight over this Collector Roof. Opponent is Force of Willing. I think I'll just fluster it here. My opponent only has green and white mana, so I think it's fairly safe. Very good. Artifact land. Okay, so we're playing against artifact deck, so I'm definitely bringing in the Force of Vigors. They will likely bring in more counters. So Flusterstorm, this Energy Flux, cards that don't play so much here. Oko, Collector Roofs are to keep, cards as well. So I need to cut it 3 more cards. I'm tempted that it's 2 Endurances, and I need something to hit the Urzas, for example. Playing Urza's Saga. Yeah, I think this should be it. Okay, so we have Force of Vigor, backed up by a Flusterstorm and a Wasteland, which deals with the majority of their plays, I think. Then I have a Tarmogoyf to come right after. So I think this hand is a keep. Okay. Energy Flux, that's a great draw. So because of that Energy Flux, I'm really tempted to not get my Wasteland straight out. So the opponent has 5 cards in hand. I think my goal is going to be to Force of Vigor them in their upkeep. Yeah, and Wastelanding. Then the opponent is completely out of artifacts. So I'll deploy the Wasteland, play the Mox Sapphire, Wasteland their land, and then on their upkeep I will Force of Vigor both of their artifacts, just to slow down the opponent. Force of Vigor has a Flusterstorm backup. I have a probable ready to come down. So opponent's force of willing here is probably painful. Go to my turn. Deploy threat. Where's the saga? Okay. So I think at this point I might want to just get the Deathrite Shaman down. In case I do draw a Flusterstorm, for example, to protect my energy flux. Now it's time to deploy my energy flux. So opponent is getting something. I'm gonna exile cast just in case they get a Pithing Needle. So my opponent's drawing a lot of cards now. We'll be able to do some constructs. No, an Emery. Bit difficult. My Tarmogoyf can go down for 6. I think my Mock Sapphire. Okay, opponent scooped. It was difficult for them to come out of the energy flux. Okay, here we are for round 2 of Tour of Vintage, featuring Sultai. So my opponent is probably on, according to my bot, on Jeskai. Jeskai Fair. So a Jeskai Fair deck, right, is likely to have counters up, and this hand has a Black Lotus. I do need to find another land, for example. So if I play Black Lotus and Misty Rainforest and try to jam, for example, a Leovold, that would be super good if it lands. Oh, I can't do a Leovold. Okay, an Oko. But then I have nothing else going on. I think it's a risky hand, especially because they do play Hull Breacher. They do play Pyroblasts. So the only thing that gets them here is Force of Will. They have Pyroblast, right? So they can just Pyro my Oko. I don't think this is a good hand. I'll just mulligan it. Okay. This hand, on the other hand, could do something. I'm wondering if I should just Gitaxian Probe my opponent. Leave the Mox Emerald. Probe, and did not find. Okay, so the other hand that we had would completely fold to this. So we might just lead with the Deathrite Shaman, and then unfortunately I don't have a basic island either. My opponent might just see that I have the Shaman and just get it out of the way. It's going to be a difficult hand to beat from here. Okay. Torch. Okay. Especially now. Not sure there's much here. Okay. Did not draw a land, unfortunately. Okay, so this game is pretty much lost, I would say. My opponent found the Mentor. I found Tropical Island. I'm not sure what it's gonna help me with. Probably a Brainstorm on their end step. How can I get out of this? That is the question. So now I just have to do an extra Ancestral on myself, keeping the Flusterstorm. Force of Will. Well, they can't have 2 counters, so they exiled Force of Will. And like, fortunately my opponent has already a deployed Monastery Mentor, so my only outs is to get something to get rid of it, but actually an Assassin's Trophy, which is great. Great. I need to Assassin's Trophy straight away the Monastery Mentor. That cannot be living right there. And then I can't do Time Walk and Treasure Cruise in the same. So how many cards I'm gonna harvest in the yard? So if I sack the Black Lotus, then Time Walk, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. I can have 6 cards in my yard. I need 7. Time Walk, right? I'll lose 1 mana, but okay. An Assassin's Trophy, black green, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, not enough. So I just go to the next. Then I have a dig through time. Interesting. I guess the dig is what I want to do. Find a Tarmogoyf. 1, 2. Rip Mine. Does it do anything? Any order. Deploy Goif. And pass. Okay. So swords go to top. This point I have to defend, so there's nothing I can do here, right? I'll just do the force of negation on their wasteland, their mystic sentry to go around Gush. So 1, 2, 3. Can cast treasure cruise. I'm not sure. Wasteland. So 5, 6. He hits me for 6 on the crackback. I think I have to wasteland that volcanic island. Alright. So we're still on the defense now. Because the cantrip hits me harder than I would ever hit them with Tarmogoyf. Cards. Not a live card. Okay. Wanna know, can have red mana up. See now. Don't let them know I have a wasteland in hand. Sure. Look at my hand. Draw. If it doesn't get countered. Should I get their mana? Is there anything gaining from activating the wasteland? They only have a volcanic island. I think that if they ever get their volcanic island out, I might be tempted to instead fire it on the volcanic island. They play 4 volcanic islands and 3 tundras, so I don't think there's a point. Ooh, okay. Sure. So I can have endurance, right? I can have a Deathrite Shaman right away. And then an endurance next turn. I just hit now with the Tarmogoyf. No. So I want to draw the endurance now. Keep the second draw. Let's go on the offensive. Should I prevent them from... I think at this point I'll just get their Tundra out. Okay. Treasure Cruise. Okay. At this point I want to just get my endurance down. I'm choosing not to shuffle. I don't believe my opponent. So I'm getting... I know I'm getting Deathrite Shaman. This position I might want to block, unfortunately. At this point I will attack my opponent, right? Is there a point staying back in defense? They do have a Dak Faden. They have a Dak Faden, so they will be able to get 2 cantrips, I think. But I have my pants down, I guess. 2 pyros. Sure. Okay. So I definitely want the silver library, 2 Flusterstorms. I wonder if Tabernacle is... Force of Vigor is not important. Collector Roofs can go out. Then there's a consideration for Tabernacle, but I'm not entirely sure. I saw some Hull Breachers. So I want to keep another. Okay. I am on the play. I have a Deathrite Shaman and a Narset for an Endurance turn 2. I think this is a keep. Start with a Shaman. It's countered. Okay. Do Black Lotus. Okay. That worked. Did get a Force of Will. Nice. So my opponent has a useless Preordain unless they Pyroblast, which I might just force Pyroblast. Let's see. What do I need more? So I could draw a Mox, for example, off Narset. That might be useful. Nothing. Ha! Alright. Ponder away. And a Force of Will. So I think I could just stall my opponent by playing the Wasteland. Then do a Time Walk next turn. But that Time Walk gets me into Force of Will. What I want is to play my Endurance, right? Next turn. So then... No, my Endurance, I can't play the Endurance 2 green. I can just shuffle this as well. I think this is shuffle. Let's play defense then. Did some scrying around. Okay, so now I just need another land. Giving them some clock. Treasure Cruise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh. I think I need to do a Treasure Cruise. Try to find a land. Good. Let's get going. So now I have a counter for Teferi. Now I play Deathrite Shaman. Force of Will. that is C. And then I'll just pass the turn. Nothing there that I want to go to put in the bottom. So I'll just continue. Another Flusterstorm. Okay, that's attacking. Go. Okay, opponent on the play. I have perfectly reasonable hand, I think. A Force of Will or Force of Negation and the Flusterstorm as backup. Gotta take. Opponent is playing Lavinia. I'm gonna fetch now for my tropical islands. And I might just get the Oko out, right? Okay, Fluster. Okay, fine. So this is a little bit of a card advantage game now. I have a Force of Will. Probably play my Endurance now, right? I'm interested in shuffling anything. And then just start beating the beat down. If I would draw a blue card, that would be awesome to get my Force of Will up. Ooh, okay. How does it do? Emo return to its owner's hand. Okay. I think at this point I want to get him away from the Tundra, right? This was a bad attack, wasn't it? Or I do want to get him on the clock. What could he be getting to his hand with the Mystical Tutor? Yeah, I attacked there. I'm not sure if I should leave him behind to block. So you gotta get Taxon Probe. Now, drawing a card. Think for me. Then get blue. Then I get Endurance back to protect Narset. Taxon for a Force of Will. So now I have a Force of Will up. If they attack with a Forager, I block with my Endurance. If they don't, I start an Ancestral Recall. No, I want that White Shaman. No, I want to keep my Force of Will just in case they try to counter it. So I can't do... I was thinking draw the Mox, get Taxon into Ancestral Recall. But I can do with that Right Shaman, right? So 1, 2, 3. No shuffle. Exile my Misty for blue. Play a Forest. Ancestral myself. Time Walk, nice. Play a Sapphire. Play a Death Right Shaman. Attack with Endurance. And win the match. Okay. And we're back to round 3 of playing Bug through a Vintage League on the Vintage Series. Our opponent was last seen on some Bridger deck wheels. We can never know for sure if that's what they're... this hand has, for example, a turn 1 Ponder, turn 2 Oko, which might be okay. Oh, they are starting. Okay. Volcanic Islands, Preordain, leading with a... They're the deck that they were 15 days ago, which is very much... So what are my outs here? I could Wasteland the Volcanic Island, but I think I want to keep the Wasteland for Urza's Saga, since their deck should be playing for Urza's Saga. So I might lead with Underground Sea Mox Ponder. I did get a Force of Negation, which is quite nice. And then I might be able to jam an Narset the turn after. So let's put rainstorm, narset, and draw into negation. And then pass the turn. Okay, so they are on Jeskai. He unfortunately cannot be countered. But I can play a Tarmogoyf. So I want to play the Wasteland. Play my Tarmogoyf. Now. And I have two options here. Either I keep the Wasteland up so that I can play more spells next turn. Yeah, I think that's the... I cannot do Force Negations, right? But I can drop Okos. I think that's the call. Keep the Wasteland up. Fortunately, I don't know if it's the right call to... If I should have just put the Tropical Island up to represent, for example, a Flusterstorm. Might have been better to just lead with Tropical Island, actually, now that I think about it. Force of Will. Okay. Sure. So now I'll just jam the Tropical. Then I have several options here. I can Narset, which kinda guarantees the Force of Will. Or Endurance, which leaves mana open for Brainstorm. Just to pass the turn and then jam Endurance. Then I have mana up for Force of Negation as well. Yeah. So I have Endurance to play now. And then I can put the Force of Negation, although they do have a Pyroblast. So Gush, what does this mean for me? I know that the opponent has at least one Force of Will. Guess I just have to let this happen. Now it's very important that my Endurance comes down into play. Okay, that sounds fine for me. What if I then try to play an Endurance then? I need my Tarmogoyf to be big. This, keeping the Narset. Try forcing this. Oh, okay, of course. I thought about the 3 mana. I did not think about no mana was used to cast its spell. Yeah. So that was a bad play on my part. Deeply sorry. So if I don't see now counter, I think Oko will try to get down. Good draw or bad draw? And I got a Misty Rainforest. Oof. Okay. This basically means that I can get away with the Tundra. Right. Tundra. Now. Go into combat. And attack with an endurance. So 5 cards in hand, there's a high probability of them countering this. Yeah. So sure, Dark Faden goes out. Plowshares. Oh, fantastic. No white mana. Might find it now. So opponent did have a little bit better start than I did. Tiny. Teeny tiny Goyf. Is there a land? No land? Interesting. Okay. Down. Well, at this point, I don't think I should be attacking that Narset. And I just hope that my opponent does not draw a land. Oh, okay. That was talking too fast. Okay. Off the top. Ooh, force a figure. Ooh, serious trouble. Well, I guess I'll oof now. At least it's a blocker for Ragavan. Force of Will. Got a Flusterstorm out. I'll attack them, and let's hope that there's no removal. Entry, well done, well done. Draw spell. Brainstorm, okay. Okay, opponent, that was fair enough. Now my opponent has probably some sort of counter spells. I got an Underground Sea off the top. I cannot draw cards. I have a Mox Jet. Let's keep it up. Not looking good. Turns. Great draw. Sure. Okay. I got one endurance as well. Should I just put this Mox Jet down? I do need to ambush that Ragavan, so I'm keeping the endurance up. So they already played Gush, so I'm not shuffling. Oh, I have chosen to shuffle. Okay, all right. So let's go to the next game. Opponent managed to turn that around. So Force of Vigor goes out. I want 2 Flusterstorms. I want the Sylvan Library, at least. Collector Oofs can go. And I bring back an Assassin's Trophy. Yeah, pretty much lost that last match by foolishly playing Force Negation into Lavinia. So this hand does not really do much against this opponent, creates no pressure. So this hand also does nothing. Okay, this is a slightly better hand. So let's keep. At this point, I have to go all in with bottoming the Flusterstorm and bottoming the Narset. So my plan is... the opponent plays a Ragavan, I bait out a counter with Assassin's Trophy, and then I jam Oko turn after. This is what I'm thinking. Opponent has not played anything. Now I have a Force of Will. Okay. So I have to keep it up. Now I'd probably like the Flusterstorm. If I had drawn a land. Okay. Leovold is... Opponent probably has a Pyroblast, I assume. And... I wonder if my play is just to pass here and Assassin's Trophy the Volcanic Island. Okay. Time Walk. So, what do I keep here? That is the question. I think Oko. So the opponent might have Pyroblasts, which is what they were representing, unfortunately. I would like to draw a land and a Flusterstorm. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. I don't think I can get back from this. I don't think I can get back from this, that's for sure. Very good draws from the opponent. Alright. Baden. Okay. Yeah. I think that my chances are slim to none. Okay. Opponent has drawn 15 more cards than me. Okay. I don't think I want to suffer through this. Blue artifact deck. Keep. I need to draw a blue card. That's my goal here. If I draw a boo card, I'm in a very good position. Because just dropping that oof will prevent my opponent probably from doing a lot of things. Okay, so I can't really drop or something. What? I don't know what happened here. Okay. Deathrite Shaman. So something definitely went wrong because didn't get to play my turn 2. Oh, there goes the Tinker and Urza. Okay, now I have okay, I have a way of playing playghtrough actually. But I want to play around days. I don't know if they have it. But I want to exile Urza Saga. Get green mana. Play my oof. And then snipe the Academy. Okay. Guess my opponent's cooped. So, Force of Vigors go in. Flusterstorm go in. Endurances go out. What I would play. I need the 3 oofs. Tarmogoyfs are a bit beefier than Endurance, for example, to block just in case any Urza Saga constructs. So, I think. Okay, so I have a Leovold, a Force of Vigor, and the Wasteland. Assassin's Trophy. Nice with a counter spell. Okay. Opponent. So I want to Vigor it now. Probably I do. I have the trophy for the Urza. So the question is now, do I want to Vigor pitching Leovold? Think so. And keep the Assassin's Trophy for the Urza if I need to get rid of it. Okay. You got me, opponent. See why they would be keeping that hand. Okay, now I have a Flusterstorm. I guess Misty, Sapphire. So I'm able to do a trophy next turn. Question is, what is the... I think I need to now get rid of Urza. Let's Assassin Trophy the Urza. I don't want them with 5 mana next turn. Started. Very interesting. I wonder what's the goal of the Mirano. Another Urza. Okay. Flusterstorm. Okay. Do you have a Wasteland? What happens if I Wasteland that? Then it's 5. Or I just need to get rid of that construct. Oh, tough spot now. I have to Assassin's Trophy that. Taste of your own medicine. But now I have completely nothing. So be nice with, for example, Ancestral into something useful. Though it's 6 life. Okay. Alright. You got an opponent. So let's analyze our sideboard again. I took away all the endurances. I think it was the right call. Only have 2. Bring back... I completely forgot Energy Flux. Okay, now I'm more prepared for game 3. So it's probably a keeper. Let's see what they have. So much fast mana. Start with a probe. So my opponent went down to 6 cards. I got a Collector Oof all the way. Okay, so how much mana do I have? 5 mana, which is exactly enough for an Oko and a Collector Oof. Oh, nice. So what do I lead? Tropical Island, Sapphire, Black Lotus, then green, blue, in, Oof in, 2 token, sure. And then my opponent is pretty screwed, I think. Okay, I have 2 oofs, okay. My food is now something interesting. Okay. Okay, here we are for the last round of a tour of vintage, playing Bug. Opponent is currently 0-0. they start. I think this is a fairly good hand. Able to counter their turn once. We'll able to see their hand after. So might be weak against shops. Okay. A lot of Jeskai opponents today. Dreador Arcanist, sure. Preordain. Okay. It's a good start from my opponent. I can start with a Git probe, right? Which probably my opponent might have Wastelands. Big mistake from my part. Assume they didn't have. So they have days, okay? Yeah, which is very interesting. They have days. That is why I do not wish to summon now. So what are my options here? I have a mental misstep for the Ragavan, even if they dash it. And then if my opponent dazes, I can pay for it. So I think it's just a pass here. Better not to dash. So this complicates a little. No, okay, they won't be able to attack with. A little bit concerned about that daze. My opponent has a force of negation. Has decided not to use it. Okay. I can keep my brainstorm, I think. That daze will be. I cannot fight over it. So I'll just let it happen. I have a force of will. Okay. So Catacombs, Deathrite Shaman. I have Force of Will, Flusterstorm. Counter it. So they exiled the Dark Faden. My opponent still has a Force of Negation up. This was a bad counter. Because they'll be able to Force a Negation and then Daze. Let's make my opponent just get their lands up. Target that Force of Will. Target. Same target. Win me anything? I'm not sure. So my opponent will cast at least the Force of an Ancestral Recall out of the Dreador Arcanist. Not sure if it was worth to fight over it. Okay. Well, I'll be able to cast Endurance. No, I won't be able. Time Walk. Oh, horrible. Okay. So there is at least a daze there. So I think only a Tarmogoyf. Have some sort of counter for that Dreador Arcanist. Turn 2. Deathrite Shaman. Sure. No point putting the Endurance because my opponent has a daze. We'll be able to source the Plowshares now. Sure. You got it. So my only outs are I draw a land now to go over days. I did draw a land, okay. And then my opponent has no counter spells in hand. And I have to wait for the Dreador to attack first. Well, I have a hard cast. Force of Will. Which is probably what's gonna happen. Okay. Okay, that didn't work. Sure. Jet. That was not a very good draw. Still have 10 turns. Sure likes to draw cards. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. So, Force of Vigors can go out. I want the Sylvan Library. Buster Storms. Probably I want the Assassin's Trophy. Them for playing. Works go down 1 Oko. Probably yes. So the question is, are Tabernacles useful here? If you have any tips on this, leave a comment on the chat or on YouTube. But this is what I feel like I should be playing. I would like to play, but not with this hand. And this is probably keepable. What do I bin? Endurance? Probably Endurance. So I have to fight over my Deathrite Shaman now. So, because I need the mana that they will generate. And if they have a mental misstep, I feel so bad. Okay, they do not have a mental misstep. Good time walk here. Get another land soon. 2 Force of Wills, an Assassin's Trophy. Okay. Not what I wanted to see. Unfortunately. Fetch land, actually. That Tropical Land probably was a bad fetch as well, right? I would like to have black mana to start exiling their graveyard. Okay. Opponent is helping me out. Can try the Flusterstorm. Wait, okay. Alright. Not my draws, these. Jace Vryn's Prodigy. I have no way of clearing their graveyard on Assassin's Trophy. See? This goes away straight away, I think. My opponent used the graveyard a lot, and of course, unfortunately, Ravenous Traps are not very effective here. I think the Leyline of the Void would have been very good against this opponent. So they are forcing this. I have 2 options. Force using Force. I think probably that's what I want to do. And then hope to stick in Narset. What did my opponent exile? Treasure Cruise. Oh. Okay. They're able to Pyroblast it. Sure. I have another Assassin's Trophy, which I have to fire, or else that Pyroblast gets rid of Narset. Okay. Sure. Okay, that was it. Should I try to jam the Assassin's Trophy? Also have a Death Right jamming. It's not able to get anything from the yard. Okay, alright. Prismatic Ending. Go. Is it Pyroblast? Okay. Up deck mode or what? Max Ruby, sure. Kept the Preordain. This is very interesting. I wonder if I should just it's likely that they have a counter spell. Yes. This means that my opponent has 1 Swords of Plowshares and 2 in non-blue cards. Okay. Now I have a Tarmogoyf. Here. Okay. My opponent had Pyroblast, so could do there. Do have a Tarmogoyf. Go to second main. Pass turn. So they are now getting Tundra for short swords. Okay. Oh, Vault. Okay. I played the land to play around days. Right. Might be able to at least draw a card from Leovold. Lavinia. Endurance as well, which is great, right? I can attack Nick. Nick is probably not gonna block their Dreadhorde Arcanist. And then when Nick attacks with their Dreadhorde Arcanist, I basically flash Endurance in. So now with the trigger of the stack, I want to flash down Endurance and block the Dreadhorde Arcanist if he is not countered. Player is gonna bottom everything. I mean, Lavinia is okay now, just prevents me from casting spells, I guess. I think at this point I'm just gonna attack because I'm the beatdown now, and if they do have Swords to Plowshares, I will draw 2 cards, I guess. Yeah, okay. Let's go for the next match. Shaman, then I have a Goyf, then I have Endurance. So I can keep the threats coming. So what do? Do I block Ragavan? I think I have to block Ragavan. Ancestral, okay. This Ancestral cannot. I see no reason why my opponent would cast an Ancestral on their main phase unless they're really digging for answers. Gosh, sure. So, volcanic island and tundra. At this point I have to block there. Yeah, actually quite nice. Yeah, so no counters, interesting. Lands. Likely that they have swords that they want to reuse, for example. Denial didn't really work on my opponent. Let's see if this is enough to play the beatdown game. I think I want to jam the brainstorm here, right? Or keep the Flusterstorm to protect one of the endurances. Turn. Okay. And that's one. That's fine. Because they're casting basically another spell. I have red mana, so I don't think there's much you can do. So that was a 4-1, good run. We can have a look at the deck again and have a little recap of the tournament. So we lost against Jeskai opponent. Think that particular match was very much draw dependent. I did misplay Force of Negation into Lavinia. Don't do that. Don't be me. This deck has a surprisingly good ability to recover, I think, from being in the back foot by simply having good draws. So the majority of the matches that I have lost were matches where I had, for example, a land of the top. So getting flooded happened a couple of times, but it was not really that often. The reality is that the majority of the main deck cards are on against most of the field, and then bringing in cards from the sideboard that are always on and removing those that are conditional makes the deck very, very consistent. So definitely I can see why this deck is putting good results, even though it feels less vintagey than the majority of decks out there. So it's definitely a good choice of deck. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you learn as much as I do from watching me play, as much as I learn playing. And don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel if you want to get the next videos in the series, which I don't know yet what it's going to be. But I hope to be releasing a video later this week as well. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening.